Hey guys, you're watching part 2 of my Crocodile guitar build. In part 1, I talked about the basic concept behind this guitar build. And if you'd like to watch that, I'll post a link up above. But at the end of this video and all the other videos in this series, I'll have a link to a playlist that will include all the videos that I'm going to shoot for this whole project. But in this episode, part 2, I'm going to kind of explain the files that I have generated that I'll be using to carve this guitar on my CNC machine. So let's jump on the computer and I'll kind of walk you through the whole project. So the first thing I had to do was to draw full-size, full-scale, top-down views in Adobe Illustrator of the fretboard, the neck, as well as the body. And what I'll do is I'll use these elements to build the 3D models that I need for the 3D contoured shapes, as well as the 2D carving toolpaths. But here you see what the fretboard looks like. And really all I'm interested here with the 3D model is the radius, as well as that little curve at the front. Then I bring the 3D model into Meshcam, and from there I'm able to establish my 3D tool carving paths for my CNC carving, and that's what the green represents on the screen. The same process is done for the neck. I bring the elements into Rhinoceros and I build a full-size, full-scale 3D model of the neck. And then what I'll do, once I have the neck shape basically established as a 3D model, is I will bring that into Meshcam and I will set up the files for establishing the G-code toolpaths for all of these 3D contoured shapes, like the back of the neck, the angled headstock, and the shape of the heel. And I can select the different kinds of toolpaths that I need to do. In this case, there'll be a roughing operation as well as a separate 3D finishing operation. And the roughing operation hogs away most of the wood, whereas the 3D finish makes it nice and smooth and eliminates those coarse, rough carving tool paths. The body's done the same way. However, in this instance, I'm going to be using a crocodile skin texture for the top surface of the guitar. So what I did was I purchased a 3D model of a crocodile skin online, and then what I did was I modified it to conform to the shape of the body as well as the contour that I want to have in the surface. And then I brought that 3D model into Meshcam, which is what you see here, and I established my 3D carving operations by selecting the tools that I felt would do the best work. And I've got the rough carve, which is going to hog away the majority of the wood, and then a finishing operation with a smaller bit that's going to do the very fine detail work to carve that texture into the top surface. And I'm using a software program here called Camotix, which helps me to visualize what that carving operation is going to produce. And this is what it's going to look like once it's done. So it's going to have that really cool shape and texture of the alligator skin. But then the next thing I did was I brought all my files into Easel Pro, which is an online software that I use to control my CNC machine. And the beauty of this program is it allows me to bring all my files together and to organize them. And that's what you see at the bottom of the screen. Those are all the different carving operations that I'll be performing to build this guitar. And what I like the most about using Easel Pro is the ability to organize all my files in the correct order that they need to be executed in order to succeed at carving this guitar in the most efficient manner. So I always start with the fretboard, then I make the neck, and then once I have the neck, I actually put it all together. And from there, I can fine-tune the shapes that I need for the body, specifically the depth of the neck pocket, the pickup pockets, and that sort of thing. But then here you can see all the different files that I've created for just carving the body. And that includes the back control cavity, the string through holes for the bridge, the top contour, and the crocodile texture that I'm going to carve into it. And then, of course, the pickup pockets, the neck pocket, as well as the control cavity holes and the perimeter shape. Hey guys, if you're enjoying this video, I would encourage you to stop what you're doing right now and click that thumbs up button down below. It doesn't cost you anything and it really helps to support my channel. But if you want to take your support to the next level, you can click the thanks button and leave a tip in the amount that you think is fair. Also, you can click the join button and become a member of my channel. And as a member, you'll have access to exclusive members-only content, which are videos just like the one you're watching, but with a lot more detail, a lot more tips and tricks and all kinds of guitar building secrets. And best of all, no ads. Now let's get back to the video. All right, so that's a pretty general overview of the files that I've created for doing the CNC work to build this Crocodile guitar. And I know I haven't gone into great detail about how I generated these files. I've listened to some of you who have complained in the past that they're not really interested in watching how I create these files. They just want to see the guitar being built. But at the same time, there are quite a few of you who have also asked me to do more detailed tutorials about how I use the software, mainly to build the 3D models that I use for establishing the tool paths that I generate for CNC carving. However, I'm probably never actually going to do that. And the reason for that is because, well, there's actually two reasons. First of all, I consider myself and my channel to be geared towards lutherie, building guitars, or whatever you want to call it. That's my main focus. It's not doing software tutorials. I don't really have any interest in doing that. And that kind of leads to the second reason, which is that my tutorials would be absolutely terrible. And the reason they'd be so terrible is because if you were to actually sit down next to me and watch me design using this software on my computer, you would notice that I cut a lot of corners. I don't use the software. I don't use best practices when using the software. I simply crank it out and I cut a lot of corners to get from point A to point B. As a result, the files that I create, they work perfectly, but they are nowhere near industry standard. So that's also a reason why I don't sell my 3D models, because you would find that they don't meet the industry standard and they just aren't built the way that they're supposed to be built, but they work perfectly. I just like to cut a lot of corners to get from point A to point B. As a result, I really can't do tutorials. They wouldn't be satisfactory. And I think I would spend a lot of time trying to answer questions from people who don't understand why I'm doing things the way that I'm doing it, rather than the way they're supposed to be done, if that makes sense. So I'm probably never going to do really detailed tutorials, and I'm certainly never going to sell my 3D models or the STL files. Now in part 3, I plan to talk about the wood that I'm going to use to build this project. I'm going to have to go out and purchase some wood. I was going through my stash and I have a really nice piece of mahogany that's going to work great for this guitar body. But I need to get a maple cap and I need to get maple for the neck itself. And I haven't really decided what I'm going to use for a fretboard wood. So I don't think I have anything on hand that I can use. So I'm going to have to pay a visit to one of the mini lumber suppliers that I rely on. And in all honesty, that's going to get really scary because lumber prices have gone through the roof, especially because of tariffs that are being applied to lumber. And some of the wood that I need to use, particularly maple, is brought in from Canada to the United States. And I know that there's been significant tariffs applied to the maple and that those prices have really gone up. So I'm not sure what's going to happen. In all honesty, the prices could make or break this project before it even gets out of the gate. So we're going to pay a visit to the lumberyard and see what awaits us in terms of the price of the wood. And we'll go from there. I'm pretty good at improvising. You know, if I can't use maple, I'll look at something else. But tariffs are affecting all of the lumber prices. And I don't want to really get into that in this video. We'll talk about that more in episode 3. And or part 3, you know, and perhaps it's not even going to be an issue. That just remains to be seen. From what I'm hearing, it's an issue, but we'll wait and see what happens in part 3. But as always, if you've enjoyed this video, got anything out of it, click the thumbs up button. That helps the channel. I say that all the time. It doesn't cost you anything, but it really helps to support my channel and get my videos in front of more people. And the more people who watch the videos, the more participation there is in the comment section, and the more that we can all learn about this fantastic and thrilling endeavor of building guitars. And of course, if you want to take your support to the next level, you can do the things that I mentioned earlier in this video. But as always, until the next episode, take care, stay safe, and I hope you'll be back for more of these guitar building videos.